Hey everybody. I don't know. Hold on a second. This happened last time as well, where at least in my view, the angle camera does not work. I'm gonna go check out that really quick and just see if the angle camera is frozen. Yeah, that's so weird. I've got to figure out what's going on with the angle camera, because like my video preview on the camera and in here shows that it's working just fine, but whatever. Hi everybody. Thanks everybody for joining. What we're working on today is my AI assistant. Really what I should be working on is a workshop to start like making money and stuff, but I just keep on getting caught by the excitement of what's going on with what Cloudflare has been doing. And they just released a bunch of other stuff today, and it just got my mind thinking about different things that I could do. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me share my screen. I do have some background music going on. Let me know if that's too loud. And we'll get rolling. So here's Kody running in cursor. So what I have been thinking about here, let's do this. Tell me what Kody MCP can do. Hopefully it just looks at the MCP server rather than looking at the code base, just so that you can I can give you an idea of what Kody is capable of doing. By the way, you can chat. Feel free to toss a couple chats in there and questions, and I'll do my best to answer as I'm working here. Yeah, it also gets it from the project, but yeah, this is fine. So we've got search, execute, and this is demo stuff, open calculator UI, that it's going to go away. But yeah, search and execute are the primary things. I'm actually thinking about maybe just changing this to a single code tool that can both search and execute. But I don't know, I'm kind of liking the way I'm doing my search tool. So anyway, yeah, so an LLM is going to search here. Let's actually do this. If I go to Claude and I say, hey, what's on my plate today on GitHub? Use Kody. Sometimes it doesn't use Kody, and it's like, oh, I'll pull up a browser for you, without realizing that Kody has all this information that it needs to. So yeah, I don't know what it's doing with all the... Yeah, see, it's so irritating. I need to fix the instructions. Do a search with Kody and you'll find it. I need to improve the instructions. Let's maybe do that right now. Here, actually. Please, yeah, let's see. Sometimes when I'm talking to Claude or ChatGPT, it doesn't realize that Kody is capable of doing all kinds of things, and I think we need to improve the server instructions. What do you think we can do there? And we'll see. The Kody tools aren't loading. Oh, that's probably what's going on. This happens a lot too, where if we go to connectors, Kody is disconnected. I don't know why that happens all the time. It's really irritating. So if we connect, approve that connection again. It was literally working like 10 minutes ago, so I'm not sure what happened there. So yeah, what's on my plate today on GitHub? Use Kody. No, use Claude. No, Kody. Thank you. Sorry, just joining. What's up, Rob? How does this differ from something like Claude Code? It's not really a coding tool. You could use this in Claude Code, and it could actually help you do some cool stuff in Claude Code. But this is more of a personal assistant that has the capabilities of doing just about anything. Right now, it has built-in support for GitHub and Cloudflare and Cursor agents, so I can tell it to like look up this project on GitHub and fire off a Cursor Cloud agent to fix that issue, and then wire up all of the necessary Cloudflare infrastructure for that, and it could do all of that. It's pretty cool, and I've got more ideas of what I want it to do. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so here's all the stuff. It's pretty cool what it, so here it did a search and it said, oh, you've got a GitHub REST capability, we've got Claude or Cursor capabilities, we've got skills. So interesting. I'm going to use Kody execute with GraphQL query. So execute, it wrote code. So this is using the code mode functionality that Cloudflare has with their dynamic workers. So it just injects this code. It's so cool to execute a GraphQL query on GitHub to find issues assigned to Kent Seed odds that are open. So that's pretty neat. And then use that, return that result, and then now that's added in the context. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the failing release is probably most urgent to look at. Yeah, well, that's not really something I'm working on actively, so I'm not going to do that. It is interesting to see things that are assigned to you, though. Anyway, so that's the basic idea. Search and execute. And it can write code to do that executing. It's pretty cool. Okay, so here, let's look at our instructions. Search, execute. And then, to do, call execute. Yep, okay. All of this looks pretty straightforward. Okay, yep, and then domains, here's the domain instructions. All of that is, yeah, this like tells you the different things that it's capable of doing. So I'm confused why it didn't know. Oh, actually, no, I know why it didn't know. It's because it wasn't connected. I forgot about that. Okay, anyway, so the instructions are good. And we could probably, like, eventually there will be too many capabilities for me to include them all in the instructions. And we'll deal with that problem when we get there. Okay, so one thing that I want to do is, there are a bunch of things that I want to do with this, but one thing that I think would be really nice is not having to add the various, oh, hold on a second. Oh, I gotta hide something. I need to look at, here, primary, hello. Yeah, so the .env file at the root, and then we've got one in here too, and I'm not sure which one matters here. And I need to delete that .env file, or delete the one that doesn't apply. That's what needs to happen here. And the reason that I'm not showing you my screen is because I don't want to accidentally open this env, although I should just delete these things from here anyway. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now I can show you my screen. Okay, so yeah, I think it would be cool if I could store OAuth tokens in D1. Let's look at our current. Here, let's do this. What's our current data model look like? Make me a graph. Nope, migrations, there we go. Okay, we don't need that, don't need that. Man, this is taking forever. Something's wrong with Composer today. I'm not sure why. The Composer's normally way fast. Let's see what happens if we switch over to GPT-5.4. Seems like stuff's happening faster. Okay, the root is the one. Yeah. Oh, geez, yeah, don't love that. I'd expect, or I think, yeah. I think I would like the default to be the one in the worker package. Is there any reason we shouldn't just move the .env example over to that and just have it in that one place? I'm not sure why we need to do this synchronizing thing. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. All right, let's take a look at our data model. We've got users. Users have password resets and chat threads. Then we have this mock resend messages. That was a mistake. And mock AR requests, we need to get rid of those. And then MCP skills. That is good. So I'm thinking open a GitHub repo to delete the mock tables. We don't need those at all. And should do things differently. GitHub repo, no, GitHub issue. So I don't forget to do it later, but I don't want to do it right now. So what I'm thinking is we make a data table for credentials, and we store auth tokens in there, and then the agents that I'm using can create skills that reference those auth tokens and can even potentially create OAuth flows so that I can get those without having to change any of the code. That's the ultimate goal. Is I don't want every single integration to require capabilities, I guess. So I pretty much want everything in skills. That's what it is. I want everything in skills. Because skills are just plain text code, which are then run in dynamic worker loaders. It's very cool. Just noticed some chats. Sorry I missed these. So Kepler looks interesting. Is that yes, this is an MCP server, and that's what makes it so I can use this in Claude or Cursor or ChatGPT. Yeah, anywhere that supports MCP. And I'm just kind of seeing how far I can push that. I do also have a chat interface of my own, which I might use. But yeah, mostly really interested in seeing how far I can push MCP for this use case. So far, it's been pretty good. It's a little slow, but we can optimize that later, I think. So anyway, yeah, we've got capabilities. We have coding. There's Cloudflare and GitHub and all that. I just realized this is really small for y'all. Let me profiles. Open profiles. We're gonna go recording. There we go. maybe I should get a new profile for live streams because this is like, it's pretty intense. So we're gonna switch that. We're gonna duplicate live stream and yeah, create. And then let's go to activate this, and we're gonna go yeah, to our settings and come down here. There we go. It's a little less intense than the recording profile. Yeah, so we've got all these capabilities for GitHub and for Cloudflare, and then we have some skill capabilities. Those will probably stay or will turn into proper tools, so they're more easily discoverable. And then yeah, we'll get rid of most of the capabilities. In fact, probably all of them. Yeah, we've got our Cloudflare thing, we've got our cursor thing here, and our GitHub stuff. Here's the stuff for our skills and tools. Execute, search, we can delete that. That's just a demo thing. So, yeah, let's see. Let's start planning the process of moving what we have currently from the hard-coded stuff. So like here's our GitHub REST client, for example. It's not that complicated. Yeah, like you could absolutely store this as a skill, and then and these are not skills as in like skill.md, but yeah. Oh, hey Blurred, sorry. Also, I missed all kinds of chats. So Amaranth, open YouTube live stream popped up. Cool, welcome. Happy to have you. And Blurred 4130, welcome. I hope you enjoy your fruit salad. That sounds tasty. All right. Yeah. So anyway, I think that the one tricky aspect of this is just the authentication piece. So let's just explain what we want to do. I would like to move from hard coding capabilities in this MCP server into having these all be represented as skills in the D1 database. To be able to do that, or actually let's just mention, one of the big benefits of this is not having to redeploy anytime I want to change some of the capabilities, and not having to manage the tokens, etc. manually. But what that will require, I believe, is building some sort of generic OAuth flow, or having a skill that makes it easy for the agent to build an OAuth flow to retrieve tokens. What are your thoughts? Let's see what GPT 5.4 thinks about that. Switching to planning mode. Yeah, sure, fine. Yeah, switch. There we go. Actually, you know what? Planning mode is like not as useful. Like it's once I want to actually make the plan, but when I'm just kind of exploring an idea, I don't like using planning mode. I prefer using agent mode because I feel like it can do more. But it looks like it's, you know, it's making sub-agents, so that's cool. So it's just learning about how capabilities works, the existing OAuth stuff, which is for third parties to OAuth to us. We have an OAuth implementation here, so that that's how you do auth with the MCP server. Which, by the way, this is hosted on the public internet, but I have it set up so that it only works for my email address. And so you could try to set up an account and stuff. It just won't work. You can fork this though. Definitely recommend forking and playing around with it. I think that'd be cool. Let's see. Is this thing still running? What's going on here? Yeah, you're taking longer than I expected. Okay. Please continue. continue. Yeah, open this issue. You know what? Let's just have a background agent do this. Oh, watch this. This is fun. Please make a background or a cursor. I can speak it. Please use Kody to make a cursor cloud agent to solve this issue. Feel free to make the prompt really brief and just reference the issue with a single sentence explaining what it's all about. The agent can look up the issue itself. There we go. And, okay, coming back here, let's look at how this finished up. Okay. Do it. All right, good. All right, how far do you want to push migration away from hard-coded capabilities? Normally it lets you type in here. What's going on? Yeah, okay. I want as much of this to be, let's see. Yeah, fully dynamic. That's what I wanted. Okay. What credential model do you use? Per user OAuth, shared app workspace. Yeah, per user, but like we only have one user, but yeah, per user would be good. Yep. Here, stop. I would like to make it so that you could have multiple tokens per provider, so we want to make sure to account for that. All right, it's spun up. There it is, Kody issue 27. Claude made that for me. So here's that. Here's how it did it. It found Kody. It did the search so that I could find how to create a cloud agent. Cursor cloud agent rest, nice. And then it wrote some code against cursor cloud agent rest with a simple prompt. I think it should have explained just one sentence of what that issue is about. That's why we ended up with this title, Kody issue 27 request, because the prompt didn't include anything about what we're actually trying to do. That's what I was kind of trying to tell it to do, but it's not a big deal. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So open that up, and there we go. We've got our agent running, doing its thing, and it's so cool. All right, let's take a look. This should be finishing pretty soon. You can see is that the agent capability in Cursor? Yes, that's what you're looking at, is agents in Cursor. And yeah, the repo that we're working in is in here, kinsey.com/Kody. So feel free to dive in. It is open source. All right, let me see if the UNV thing got finished. Still working on that. Yeah, I think there's something weird with the playwright. It takes really forever in this context, but whatever, it's fine. Oh, there we go, almost done. Whoops. Get rid of that. right, awesome. Let's find issues, shall we? Boy, changed a lot. While we're doing that, let's take a look at this plan. So another thing that I want to do eventually is make it so that agents that support MCP apps can write code for an app and have that dynamically render inside of like basically a generic shell. And so whatever code is written will get loaded. Anyway, it's very obvious at this point now that like this. So it's generative UI, really. Generated by any agent that supports MCP apps. I'm very excited about that idea too. I think that'll be cool. Okay, concise report. Here we go. We got, wait a second. What am I looking at? I thought I was looking at, where's the, is this the plan? Or, yeah, okay. For some reason that looked fine. Oh, it found one issue. Actually, it probably isn't done. Yeah, it's still reviewing. But let's see what this test string response won't load. Fix that. Nope, not in this conversation. Alright, there we go. Okay. We'll let that do its thing. This doesn't look like a plan. It's not a plan. Oh, I'm looking at, okay, yeah, there we go. Now I'm looking at the plan. All right. Okay. Treat fully dynamic as all user-facing provider workflows, capability, metadata live in D1 as skills/templates. Yeah, that's kind of what they are. But a very small host-side runtime remains in code for the part skills should not own directly. OAuth redrags. Yep, okay. Okay, deploy free iteration. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so we got our client, search tool and execute. We got our D1 skill catalog, that's already done. We've got our skill runner, that's also done. Host intrinsics, I'm not sure what it means by that. Provider connections, encrypted token material, okay. Generic OAuth flow and provider APIs. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit not sure what it means by this. Okay, introduce first class provider connections. Add D1 tables for user-owned provider connections instead of storing a single token per provider. OAuth providers. Hold on a second. There's a certain brightness on that thing, where once I get to that brightness level, it starts having this buzzing noise. It's super, super annoying. Luckily, I don't ever really need it to be quite that bright anyway, so. Okay. So, yeah, this is actually interesting. Now it occurs to me, I will have to register Kody as a client for all platforms that don't support dynamic clients. Which is fine. But yeah, it needs to be considered. So we'll think about that. identity so the model can distinguish code tokens safely. Yeah, okay. Yep. A default connection per user provider. Yeah, okay. Reuse the existing OAuth concepts. Oh man, I didn't realize that had happened. Huh. Oh, dang. Server should be moved into the worker. Rats. This was an incomplete migration to workspaces. So that's irritating. Okay. Let me just look. Let's finish this. Did we fix that? Okay. That's fine. Great. This is a pretty simple, straightforward thing, so I'm not too terribly worried. Why don't you use AI agents? What? What are you talking about? What do you think I've been doing this whole time? I haven't written a single line of code at all. This is an AI agent. Okay, but I do, yeah. I think we've got an incomplete migration to workspaces here. We have a bunch of code in the server directory that I think belongs in the packages worker directory. Could you take a look at that and let me know what you think? Y'all hear that airplane? Maybe not quite so bad, but I've got like a really, really beautiful place that I live, and people really like seeing it from high in the sky. And so there are airplanes that fly over here all the time, and it is kind of annoying. Let them do reviewing. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. That's what this part was. I did that. It found an issue. I had it fix it, and then I had it commit. Sometimes I will tell it right in here to do the commit. Sometimes I like to see it. I don't know. Sometimes I'm really synchronous with this stuff, and other times I'm not. I've got an agent running in the cloud right now to do some stuff. I don't know. Our workflows were probably a little different, I guess, but I feel pretty happy with my workflow. I'm definitely using agents. Okay. Yeah, pretty sure. Yep. I appreciate that it's looking at that. Yep. We need to move all this stuff. Do it. Good plan. Did you see that part where it said it's going to update the docs? Man, I don't understand why people are so worried about documentation with agents. I do think that they help the agent, and they don't typically fall out of date because the agent updates them. And if they do fall out of date, then you can just tell the agent to update them, and it's not that bad. I use, I make heavy use of docs, and I think that it helps my agents be a lot more effective. All right, so while that's happening, hopefully it doesn't take terribly long. I think that will help some things work better. But a separate MCP client auth from third-party provider auth. Yep, that all makes sense. Yeah, okay, so okay, I've got a question here actually. If we do things this way, how are we going to make sure that skills have access to the provider tokens they need? Will the agent generating the code have a specific binding to the auth credentials they need? Declares what it needs. Yeah, I think that we're on the same wavelength. So I'm thinking we don't want to have the auth token ever enter the same V8 isolate context as the code that's generated by the agent. Instead, the agent will write code that calls functions which then have access to the credentials necessary. How is that going to be represented in the code that the agents write? Could you give me an example of code that an agent might generate which would take advantage of this? Moving a bunch of stuff. I forgot to tell it to like be smart and not use tons of tokens by using move instead, and then like move then edit. There are things that you lose when you do that, but I feel like we had a lot of stuff in that server directory. I probably should have just told it to use move and then edit. But now it's kind of too late. Types. Oh, we'll wait. We'll just let it do its thing. It's fine. Okay. That's exactly how I'd model it. Yeah. Okay. Use my default to. Oh, I know what that is. I keep hearing this sound, and it sounds like it's coming from in my house, but it's actually coming from my neighbors who are redoing their roof right now. So it's the nail gun. Okay. I just looked and it's saying that I have 14 viewers, which is really strange because normally I've got a lot more people watching live, and I'm guessing that the reason. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm guessing the reason is they no longer report what's coming through X, or maybe that is, yeah, maybe that's not reporting or something. I don't know. Weird. Okay. All right, so here's an example. Provider HTTP request. Provider connection request. Boom. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, which one of these do I like best? So it's suggesting the connections resolve and provider HTTP request, which it gave a couple different. Yeah, there's our connection handle. Yeah, actually, I kind of like that. Yeah, let's update our plan. I like your fourth example best. Update the plan, please. Okay, let's see how this migration is going. Looks good. Run formatting and full gate. Fix any issues. Oh, hold on. Stop. Before you do that, let's do more cleanup. And should we move types as well? Anything else that might make sense? And public. And public to Sentry. Where's my usages? Find humors. And maybe Sentry. These are all empty. Yeah, get rid of that. Get rid of that. I think that's old too. And yeah, we're good now. Even migrations make sense in the worker, I think. Okay, let's see where we're at now. Well, let's see what the agent said, and then we'll read the updated. Oops. Ah! Okay. Scale execution. I don't want it to do anything that's gonna lead agents to generate code like this. I'm worried about having the example include a generic error for missing a connection, because I think that our connections resolve can handle this type of error throwing by itself. I think instead the example should demonstrate a code branch for what to do if there is not a connection, and have that thing be something that's actually useful. Otherwise, I don't see any reason to support the allow missing option. Hold on. Let's fix this, put it back on plan. I made a mistake. How are we doing over here? Okay, you're keeping types. That's fine. I wondered actually if types needed to be moved. Yeah, this is good. Good, good. Okay, so this is not going to work, I think. Maybe it will. Oh, yeah, that would work. That's really interesting. Because then I could say, hey, Okay, actually, let's talk about that. There are plenty of services that do not support dynamic client registration. Is there anything that we can do in the MCP server to more easily support agents that want to create a connection for a service that requires client registration? Pre-client registration. I think actually GitHub is one of those which does not support dynamic client registration. So. I'm not sure I like this at all. I don't really want to load up my D1 database with tons of different providers with that registration metadata, especially since maintaining that would be a huge pain, and there are tons of providers that I'll never care to connect anyway. So I would instead like the agent to be able to determine for itself what kind of registration is required to get the authentication tokens that it needs. In some cases, the OAuth flow isn't even necessary because you can generate an auth token in the provider's dashboard, for example. So I definitely want to support the agent in making it easier to create these kinds of connections, but I don't think that I want to worry about maintaining a database of registration types or whatever. And I am not sure if it changed anything in the plan, so I'm gonna just come up here and we'll edit that, and that way we don't have problems with it going off in some bad direction. Hi there, King Goes Gaming. Oh, King Goes Gaming. Yep. Hi there. Okay. Hey, we've got a pull request here for removing the mock database tables, so that's nice. It deleted a migration. That's not going to work very well. So yeah, we've got existing migrations. We could slurp everything up into a single migration, but that isn't going to work very well. So where is this open in web? Deleting migrations is not going to work very well. We do have production data, so we can't delete migration files. You're just going to have to create a new migration file. Okay, we'll let that do what it's going to do. Yes, I'm creating Kody. I've got Kody right here. This is Kody. Hello. Kody is my mascot, and in fact, I'm wearing my Kody shirt today. And Kody is now my AI assistant. He's the instructor assistant for my workshops, and now he is the AI assistant for myself. And mostly just like exploring, because I honestly think that most of the big labs are going to make some pretty compelling general assistants, and we're not going to need our personal ones, but we're exploring, we're playing, we're just kind of seeing what we got. So how to revise the plan. All right, so what do we got? What are we saying here? Make the NCD get a connection, but not maintaining. Okay. Yeah, do. Probably remove the idea of long-lived OAuth catalog from the plan. Yep. Instead, storing connection drafts. Interesting. Okay, OAuth connections and connection secrets. Am I hosting on my local machine? No. I am running this on, it's a pretty unique assistant actually. So my assistant is actually an MCP server, and then I connect to it from ChatGPT or Claude, and then that talks to the MCP server, and that server is running on Cloudflare. Eventually, I'm going to, I do want to be able to control things in my network. Like I've got, smart home stuff. And so I've got a NAS in my closet over here that I'm going to create a service that connects to a WebSocket to the MCP server. And then I'll be able to use ChatGPT to turn on my lights. That would be pretty cool. So we'll see about that. Right now, though, I'm kind of getting distracted by this general OAuth thing, which might be a little bit premature if I'm thinking about it and being honest with myself. But I think it'd be pretty cool to be able to just authenticate with anything and have my agent be able to write code that can connect to just anything. And that can happen over time. I don't have to change the code to make that happen. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay. Connections begin, secret, start OAuth, complete OAuth, verify, finalize. Okay. Yeah, so into this secure form, that's the tricky thing, is we kind of need the generative AI or generative UI stuff to be able to generate this form, because I can't give it to, or I don't want to give it to the agent and have the agent hot potato that over to me. I want the agent to generate a form so I can securely submit that information. Yeah, okay. I do make that update. But I'm thinking I need to pause on this plan and get to building a generative UI feature. And like the interesting thing is that Claude and ChatGPT, I think definitely Claude supports generating code and displaying a UI. Yeah, having a mascot is fun, Amaranth. It is, Kody was just kind of a random choice that I made, but yeah, it's fun to have a mascot. Okay, here we go. That sounds fine. Thanks. Could you run? Yeah. Let's see. Run formatting and full gate and fix issues. Then, if everything looks good, commit and push. That's a pretty straightforward migration, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay. So we're gonna make a new plan. Close that guy, close this guy, close this guy, close that. And we're gonna say, I want to support generative UI. And the way I want to do this is with the MCP app spec. I think I want to make an MCP app that is similar to the calculator app example that we have already, but it's a total shell that doesn't have anything built in or anything. And then we have a tool that accepts the code that goes into the shell. So the agent can write the code itself. That tool accepts that as an input and then passes that into the UI. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it has all the docs that it needs. What documentation about MCP apps do you need that you don't already have access to? Pretty sure it's got everything. But let's put this in ask mode. I don't want it to do anything just yet. Does ChatGPT support generative UI yet, or is it still only cursor? So it supports MCP apps, and when I'm done with what I'm doing, anything that supports MCP apps will support generative UI. If it works, and I'm pretty confident it's going to work. It's going to be pretty cool. Okay, coming back. Yeah, migration. Okay, cool. Oh, yep, good. Glad it fixed that up. Yeah, that's gonna be much better. Okay, here we go. Yep. We already have MCP UI in here. Is there a way that we could work this into the existing capabilities and even skills so that an agent could generate a UI, have that code saved in D1 as a skill, and then use that again in the future? What do you think? I think we should be able to make that work. That would be much better than having an additional tool and stuff. I'm pretty sure this is going to be good. Docs explicitly say skills are stored to do with vectorized embedding, so it's searchable. It's very cool. Save skill. Do current MCP shape already to do. It's very plausible. The main design choice I'd make is capabilities. Yeah, I've got a meeting in an hour. Don't let me forget that. Let me make sure I've got another reminder. Yeah, 5 minutes before. Okay, good. Now the question is, Will can't remember to eat. No. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's fine. And drop table, boom. And then we update all this stuff. Yep. The worker here is just storing messages in memory, which should be okay. Pretty sure that'll be just fine. Yeah. Honestly, those mocks don't matter that much anyway. So, yeah, let's cursor agent, please rebase on main and push. And that is that. That is nice. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We can have a different domain for that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, that was a good call. Skills recipe, UI artifact as a result. Capability manages the artifact life cycle. Yeah, okay. To be clear, I'm pretty confident that we should be able to have a single resource for rendering any of these UI artifacts. Are we understanding this the same? I don't think we need to have one resource per app. Yeah, you search, you generate, and then execute to generate the code. I'm a tiny bit confused why execute is necessary to generate the code. I was kind of thinking that the UI, yeah, and also I'm not confident that we need to save an app before it is served. I think that the agent should be able to generate the code for the app and then pass that to our tool, which will forward that code to the shell. And then if the agent decides it wants to save that so it doesn't have to write the code for it again, it can use a capability to save that and then use a capability to load that code back into the UI. I'm thinking also that the tool we have for the apps should be able to accept raw code or an ID for the saved code so that the code never needs to enter the context window for the agent. Okay. Yoink. Move this over now. Just for the fun of it, what's this agent doing now? How's the pull request looking? This is so cool that this works. So it's going to execute some code to hit cursor to figure out this agent. It doesn't know anything about the pull request yet. So now it's going to, now that it got information about the agent, it knows what pull request is open for it, etc. And so it's going to check out that pull request. Now it's got info on the pull request, and it knows the agent is running. And here's the status of the pull request. Okay. Can you see the pull request comments? Of course it can. It's going to make another request. I wonder if it's going to use GraphQL or REST. It decides to use REST. For both getting issue comments and review comments. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Issue comments, all that. That's so cool. Yeah, we got Code Rabbit skipped because it's a draft, and then here I can say convert it to from draft to ready, which is cool. So cool, so cool. You can see that the agent is running. What else can you tell about what the agent is actively working on? I'm not sure what it's able to get from the API, so let's find out. So agent details and steps. That's cool. Oh, don't pull up the browser, you funny goose. We're not gonna have you pull up the browser. Oh. You won't be able to see it. You'll have to log in, all that stuff. That's one of the reasons why Kody is so great. No, stop doing that. All right, anyway, here we go. Let's see what this guy thought about what I said. A single generic MCP resource makes sense. Current calculator wiring already shows the important pieces. So instead of one resource per app, I expect entry point, and then each invocation tells that shell what to render. Yep. Widget host bridge. Saving should be optional. Ephemeral render, open generated UI. Here's the code, nothing saved. Persistent render, the agent saves the artifact, gets ID back. Later calls the same tool, open generate. Yep, app ID. Yep. Yeah, so you could say show me a UI of my 6 most recently closed GitHub issues and their associated cursor agents. And it could use execute to go get those things and then generate a UI for that. That would be pretty cool. That would be cool. Yes, yep, exactly. So, yep. We'll also want to make sure that the instructions for these tools is sufficient for the agent to know how to handle things like full screen and cross agent and app communication, etc. I think I'm about ready for you to create a plan. So let's do it. Yeah, plan. Go. Yeah, this is neat. I'm liking this very much. It's gonna be cool. And then we can use that capability to have this just have instructions to say if you need to get a token or client secret or any of that, just generate a UI for a form and have that hit an endpoint on your dynamic worker. Let's see, how would that work? Okay, let's just ask a question here. I am in the process of adding generated UI, and I'm thinking that if connecting to a service requires secure input like a client secret or a personal access token or something, I don't want that to show up in the agent's context. And so instead, I would like the agent to generate a UI for that secure input, and that generated UI can pass that information to the Cloudflare worker directly. My question is, what would our generated UI solution need to be able to pass data from the generated UI to the code mode execute dynamic worker that the agent creates, so that the agent can create both front-end and back-end code for a particular use case. Yeah, that would be so sick. The voice-to-text app I'm using is called Whisperflow, and I've got a link for you. It is a affiliate link, but it is awesome. Feel free to use somebody else's affiliate link. I have like 9 years of free usage on this thing now. So that's cool because so many people have seen me use it and like it very much. So yeah. All right. Use one stable. Here, let's see if it's responded actually. Okay, it's still exploring. Use one stable MCP app. Oh, here, let's say also, when we're finished, I would like the calculator related stuff in this project to be completely removed. Not just the UI, but all of the calculator and math related capabilities. Those were all just examples of how to do stuff. And now we've got plenty of code to serve as good examples. Your code base is part of the prompt. I'm just gonna post that. Everybody knows it, but this is probably gonna, your existing code base is part of the prompt. There you go. And let that sink in. Is there a sink emoji? Sink. Kitchen? No, not a good sink emoji. All right. There's like a water or a faucet emoji. That's what I should do. Faucet emoji. Delete. Let that sink in. Faucet emoji. Rats. Faucet emoji. There you go. All right. Fun stuff. Now I'm distracted by X. The biggest unlocks, personal assistant, tight scope. Oh man. I'm pretty much doing the opposite right now. Okay. Here's what it says it would need. Oh, my wife's home. Means I'll probably have to close the door, otherwise the cute 2-year-old will come up to see daddy, which I love, and he does that a lot, and I open the door for him and everything. But during a live stream is not really something that I'm gonna do. I might actually end the stream so that I can have lunch before my meeting, so I don't end up forgetting to eat. So we'll see. If you want to generate safely. Hostone worker endpoint. Yeah. Yeah, I know why not to send it to execute. Wait, no. I do want to send it to execute. Why not? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And we can have this this plan do that when we get to that point. Okay, cool. So we'll let's look at this plan. Hold on. Is client still in the root? Client. Where's client? It is. Okay, let's come back over here. Should we move client as well? And did public not get moved? Yeah, these are empty. Tools is fine. Types we didn't move. Migrations is empty now. E2E is fine. Docs. Oh, did docs move? Okay, no. Okay. Client. Yeah, move that, please. Hold on, stop. And I think you can use the MV command so that we're not so wasteful with tokens. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I should just, yeah, I think I'm going to turn this off. But I will probably be live streaming a lot more because I really enjoy live streaming. So we're going to do that more. But I'm going to take off. I'm going to go have lunch, and then I'm going to have a meeting, and then I'll probably be live again. So we'll see. Thanks for joining me. This was fun, and we'll see you all next time.